Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Rise and Thrive Conversations for Greatness. This time I'm going to have a conversation with you. Yes, a lot of people have been asking me, how did I go in the Toastmasters International Speech Competition? So I wanted to let you all know how I went, and then in a moment I'm going to play the speech recorded live. Now, the sound's not super, but it's good enough. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it on YouTube as well. So it was a speech that I had in me that I really felt like that I needed to deliver. And the reason being is because it was me being the most vulnerable I've ever been on stage. So I really put my heart out there. It's about what happened to me when I was 16 years old and how I handled it. And it's the most raw and vulnerable that I've ever been on stage. Now, the thing about Toastmasters is they like a little bit of, I wouldn't say theatrics, but they like a bit of, I wouldn't put it this way, I wouldn't deliver it this way if I was at a corporate environment about talking about mental health, but I would deliver it this way if I'm at a Toastmasters competition. So, because they've got a score sheet and just how they score things and whatnot. So I wanted to win, but I also wanted to get the message across. So I ended up becoming a finalist, which I'm really, really super proud of. And I ended up, through the competition, drafting this speech with my awesome coach, Karina Murphy, who's on a few episodes ago, 61 and 62, or 60 and 61. Anyway, if you want to hear Karina, how awesome she is, head over to those episodes. But one of the awesome things that came out of me delivering that speech, or being in the competition, I should say, is that I crafted that speech. And that is something that I've been avoiding for years, talking about this particular subject about mental health. And I actually discovered it's the reason why I'm so passionate about sharing the tools for resilience, growth, and healing with as many people as I can. I always thought it was when I was in my 20s and I saw a seminar and I saw all these wonderful speakers like Louise Hay, James Redfield, the author of the Celestine Prophecy, Deepak Chopra, and my personal favorite, God rest his soul, Dr. Wayne Dyer. Love a bit of Wayne. He was funny, he had a deep voice, prolific, knew his stuff. Absolutely loved it. He was the one that I first heard, the Cookie Thief, when he talked about the cookie thief. So I memorized that poem. I've delivered that. I think I delivered that in episode 1 or 2 way back when. So that had a really big impact on my life. So I always thought, through seeing those speakers and me being in the audience and having this epiphany, like I was the only one in the audience watching these people, and it was just like, yeah, that's what I've got to do with my life. I always thought that was it. Little did I know, and I only discovered that this year by entering the Toastmasters speaking competition, the international speaking competition, and crafting this speech. I thought for weeks and months, what am I going to talk about? And then as I discussed it with Karina, it became obvious what I needed to talk about. And then it hit home that is what's in this speech, you'll hear it shortly, is the reason why I'm so passionate about sharing tools for resilience, growth, and healing. And the reason why I'm so driven to do what I do. A lot of people ask me, John, why do you do it? You've got a family, you've got other commitments in your life, you've got a podcast, you train people, you mentor people. Why do you do all of that? And this speech will be very clear when you hear it. That is the reason why. And that's what drives me so much. And I guess it was subconsciously up until now, and I've brought it into my consciousness. And it's something that I don't mind talking about. And it's opened the doors for a lot of people to say, John, I had a similar experience. Or, John, I felt that way before. Now, that'll become clear when you hear the speech. I don't want to say too much until after the speech. The reason it's the Toastmasters International competition is because every club in Australia runs a competition. I think in the world, I said Australia. Every club in the world, of which there's 13 or 14,000 of them, they run this speech competition the first and second place from the club go to the area contest, and every area has anywhere between, say, 8 and 12 clubs in it. And so all those first and second place getters go to the area competition and the area international speech competition, and then the first and second place of that goes on to the district and whatnot. So that was the process that I was involved in, and I was a finalist, and I'm very proud of it. A lot of people have been saying to me, John, you should mentor and coach people on public speaking, and I'm considering that. If that's something that is of interest to you and you'd like to work with me, you can always email me, john@johnmerkus.com, and we can have a chat. Absolutely no problem there. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my speech called A Journey to Freedom, and I delivered it for the first time at the Toastmasters International Competition, and I hope you enjoy it and it moves, touches, and inspires you.
John Merkus, A Journey to Freedom.
Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff with the wind howling. You feel like you're about to fall. You can't stop yourself. That was my reality at 16. I felt like my life had been shattered beyond repair, and I didn't know how to pick up the pieces. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests. At 16, I thought I had it all figured out. I was deeply in love. The girl that I was dating, I found out, had been cheating on me multiple times. I was left devastated and humiliated. It felt like a tsunami had hit my life. Waves of emotions crashed over me, from searing anger, crushing betrayal, and deep, deep sorrow. And worse, they were swirling around, swirling in my mind like I was drowning in my own mind. And everybody knew about the cheating, except for me. Imagine the gut-wrenching realization that I was the last to know. Everyone thought that I'd accepted the truth, but the truth shattered everything I knew, leaving me lost, betrayed, and alone. I didn't know how to handle the pain. I didn't have the emotional tools I needed to deal with what I was dealing with. I hurt in ways I didn't expect and couldn't articulate. It was like putting a jigsaw puzzle together without knowing what the final picture looked like. I just wanted the pain to stop. So I wrote a goodbye letter. I took sleeping pills, and I wanted it to end. But when I woke up the next morning, I wasn't relieved. I was angry. Angry that I was still here. Determined to finish what I started, I headed for the front door. And that's when I saw my mother. Our eyes met, and I felt her pain. And she said to me, John, don't go. Don't go. She didn't need to say anything else. Somehow she knew what I tried to do. And in that moment, I felt the raw force of her love and concern. And it was in that moment that the walls that I built up around myself crumbled. And it was then I knew that I desperately needed to get the help that I so desperately sought. I didn't know it then, but that started my personal development journey. I needed to build a toolkit for life, a way to manage my emotions, to deal with the pain, And as I was doing that, I came to realise that what I was feeling was not unique to me. Maybe you felt it too. That rejection letter that broke a dream. The loss of someone you love. Or that voice inside that sometimes says, you're not good enough. I came to realise it's not about having all the answers. It's about reaching out for support. And more importantly, embracing your vulnerability. I have a son who's 15 years old now, around the same age that I was when all this happened. I said to him, son, one day you might fall in love, and one day you might get your heart broken. But if there's one thing I want you to remember, it's to hang on. Hang on, moment by moment, second by second if you have to. Because time is your friend, and time heals. We all have defining moments. Some make us, some break us. What I've come to realise is you don't have to stay wounded and build a life that you want to escape from. You can turn your wounds into wisdom, your tragedy into triumph. You can build a life so extraordinary that you want to stay, that you choose to stay, where you rise and thrive and embrace your authentic self. That moment, those experiences shaped who I am today, and it sparked my journey to freedom. It's the reason I'm on a mission to share the tools of resilience, growth and healing to everyone I can, so people realise they don't have to go through these things without support. I've faced my dark moments. I've been through the storms and I've found a way out. I've discovered the tools that help me navigate life's toughest challenges. And together, I'll empower as many people as I can to live an extraordinary life, one that we don't need to escape from. And just in case nobody's told you today, you are valuable. You do matter. You are loved.
One minute silence for our judges. More than 1 minute.
So there you go. That was it. Now you know. That's right. I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. I was dealing with a breakup. I was dealing with not just a breakup. It's not just I don't love you anymore. It's you, the woman that you, or the girl, I should say, because we're only young teenagers. The girl that you were dating cheated on you multiple times, and everybody knew except for you. So it just felt so intense, that feeling, and I didn't have any way to deal with those intense emotions, and I just wanted the pain to stop. As you just heard in the speech, I didn't have the tools, and that's why I'd like everyone to know and understand the tools that I use, that we talk about on the show, that I train in virtual sessions and face-to-face sessions about how to deal with change. I'm a change manager, right? So how to deal with change. I do it at a business level, but I also do it at a personal level as well. And there's so many things that I have in my emotional toolkit for life that you're all welcome to have as well. Because as I say in the speech, no one needs to go through that kind of pain without support. You're not alone. I am sure that you have people out there that love and adore you. You're surrounded by them, whether you realize it or not. And all you need to do is ask. If you ask for help, 9 out of 10 people will say yes. Because as human beings, it's intrinsic in us to want to help others. And also, here in Australia, we have Lifeline. So if you do have some dark moments and you are feeling the way that I was feeling, as I mentioned during that speech, please call Lifeline. They are trained counsellors to help you get the professional help that you need. If you're listening around the world, I'm sure you have something similar in your country. Google mental health phone assistance and make a phone call. Here in Australia, it's Lifeline. They do an incredible job. I've just given them a donation, which is part of a suicide prevention walk that I'm doing in March 2025. I don't know when you're listening to this, but in March 2025, and also attending a gala dinner to raise funds for suicide prevention. Did you know here in Australia that 70% of deaths of men under 25 are from suicide? It's absolutely mind-blowing when you look at the numbers, and it's something that I'm really passionate about helping with, to bring those numbers down, because that could have been me. I could have been a statistic, and I'm so glad that I'm not. And as Jonathan, my son, said, I'm glad you weren't successful. He actually said that at the competition, and someone thought they were talking about me actually being the number one speaker rather than just a finalist. And I said, no, he meant he's glad I wasn't successful in my attempt to end it all. And I just have to keep speaking about it because there's so much shame associated with it. But the more I speak about it, the more I can help others, the shame disappears. And then, see, that becomes about me. And it's not about me. It's about others out there that are going through tough times, that need help. And if it's not me that can help, and I've got some tools that can help, but if it's not me that can help, there'll be others out there that can help you. And it's about accepting your vulnerability, understanding that you're not alone, and reaching out for help. So if you're feeling down in that way, please reach out. I want to thank you for listening to the speech. It really means a lot to me. Thank you for being a listener of the show. That also means a lot to me, but I really hope this show is about you. So if you're listening, this show is about you. So you can get the tools, tips, and tricks and add to your emotional toolkit, or your toolkit for life even, when you hear what people do and think to achieve greatness in their lives. So thanks for being you. Thanks for listening. And as always, stay awesome.